we have a great tour by Mr. John Mahoney. And first time I met John Mahoney was actually at an Urbanwood event in San Marcos. Yeah, he was carving out in front.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Nancy and I were there. Was that the first place you met him as well?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we'd worked with West Coast Arborists before, but that was the first time that we'd really met John. And so anyways, John Mahoney is an area manager at West Coast Arborists and Urbanwood Business Street, or their program, Street Tree Revival. At the intersection of power tools and creativity, John Mahoney found his niche, turning otherwise forgotten urban green waste into dazzling works of art. And I know he's going to talk to us a lot more about that now. All right.
There he is.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. We just showed up. We salvaged this Monterey cypress from Half Moon Bay. It was a heck of a ride, but we got back just in time to film this little tour. My name's John Mahoney, and I work with West Coast Arborists. We started a wood recycling program called Street Tree Revival, and we are going to take you on a tour of our showroom where where all the magic happens. So we have 3 locations. 2 of them are where we do our primary processing. That's in Stockton and in Ontario, where all the logs come in and we saw them into different products. About 3 years ago, we opened our retail showroom. And it's always changing. Even this morning, we got it all nice and set up, and then boom, 2 big ones sold off the wall, so there's a big hole there. So I apologize for not having it all ready for you. But come on in. We don't really make finished products. We try to just focus on providing good raw materials that are kiln dried and surface ready to go. So in our showroom, we've got space for different makers and local artisans to show off some of their work. So this is made by one of our buddies. Mike Girardi from Girardi Design made this, one of my best friends. We've got some big, beautiful chamois ash here. We've got a ficus waterfall table. So we kind of have everything sorted out by different species. It's really fun to have people come in and see the urban forest from the inside. Chamois ash, Modesto ash. Got some beautiful silver maple. It's kind of cool. We had a carpenter bee in here, and we found a dead carpenter bee when we pulled it out of the kiln. Got some beautiful spalted. Look at this blue stain in there and the zone lines. Woo woo! We use a little squirt gun here to show people what it'll look like with the finish on it. Really makes it come to life. Oh my gosh, look at those bird's eyes. Ooh, my. Right here we've got some big elms. These were salvaged from Sacramento. We've got a Casuarina Shio, a hollow form, big sculpture we made. This is a carob log that we hollowed out. We've got another one over here. These ones sold this week. They're going to go as art sculptures as a centerpiece for some buildings in Newport Beach. Here we have some gorgeous 13-foot elms, but they gone. So we're going to have to fill them up with something new. Behind me, we've got some book matches. This is our book match area. The customer's always right? They asked us to flip these over earlier and show them what it would look like if it was flipped. But if you go like this, got our book matches on display. People like to land out different ways. We've got a river tables are real popular right now. So having book matches ready to go is a really nice way to show people how you can lay it out in different designs and make a big table, a dining room table, out of a log that might have been too small. American sweet gum, aka satin walnut. Ungawa, sweet gum got the power. Some gorgeous tropical ash, aka Shamel ash, brought to Riverside in the 30s by a dude named Archie Shamel, right? We locally refer to the tree after him, Shamel ash, native to Mexico. Fresh on the wall today, we got some Coast Live Oak. Holy moly. So many unique and cool flavors coming right out of our front yards. Check out this awesome weeping willow from Lodi, California. So as you may know, it takes an inch per year to dry wood in the air. We call that air drying. So we air dry a lot of our material. Most of these big slabs have been air drying for about 3 years before they make it on the wall. Sometimes we can speed that up with our vacuum kiln. And I'm going to show you that as we go around the corner. Nice big willows. Before we go around the corner, let's turn around here and show them the canoe. Got the Urban Wood canoe, made out of redwood, California incense cedar, Shamel ash, and sycamore, made by our friend Carver Young. As we go around the corner, you know, live edge slabs are really popular, but we know that dimensional lumber is a great way to use a lot of the species and trees that aren't great for slabbing. So we've got a whole section over here with about 8 different species. We've got redwood, deodar cedar, sycamore. When you saw sycamore in the quarter sawn pattern, you get these awesome medullary rays exposed. So most of our sycamore logs we turn into quarter sawn lumber, and it's been a really successful thing for us. We typically rough saw all our material at 9/4 thickness, 2 1/4 inch thick, and as it dries and shrinks, we typically net about 1.5 inches or 1 3/4 out of that material. Here we have some beautiful red gum eucalyptus. Extremely hard, extremely beautiful. We got a little glue up we're working on here. So we partnered with Taylor Guitars, and they're using Shamel ash and a few other species. So we decided to save all the offcuts off of the guitars, and we milled them up into these strips, and we're going to start making a couple butcher block tabletops out of them. You know, we love art in here. This is made by a famous Japanese carver, Hikaru Kodama. He's like my idol, so I was all excited when we got to meet him and put some of his art in the room. I'll wait till the grain pops on that guy. Ooh. So this wall is made out of red gum eucalyptus. So we wanted to, you know, encourage people to maybe use red gum eucalyptus as a flooring product. So we had some engineered flooring made out of our red gum euc, and we used it on this wall as a statement piece and to show people that, hey, you can use it. going to take you around the corner here. We have our vacuum kiln. And instead of taking an inch per year to dry, you can dry most thicknesses in about 2 weeks. So it uses vacuum pressure to lower the boiling point of water. And you just, I don't know if you could hear it, but it just kicked on and it's going to start sucking the air out of the chamber. It's a little bit loud and annoying, so I apologize in advance. But on average, we get it somewhere between 200 gallons up to 600 gallons of water. I'm going to turn the corner and we're going to step away from it because it's really chooching and kind of loud right now. Here we got an order of black walnut cookies that just came out. We're going to be sending these on. We're sorting them by size. So after the wood comes out of the kiln, or it's air dried for long enough and it's ready for final processing and to move on to the next project, we take it over to this machine, which is a surfacing machine. It's a fly cutter, and it cuts a new surface on the wood. So it's 17 feet long, about 65, 68 inches wide. We can surface really big stuff on it. So this has been a great help for our customers to, kind of lowers the entry point for people to work on the material. It used to be really hard to get it super flat, but now everything in the showroom is flattened already, and it's really easy for customers to see the grain and easier to work on. It takes it from tragic to magic. Fun thing too, we always have a scrap bin, and some people, even a lot of the neighbors here, come over every once in a while and just clear out of the scrap bin. If it was up to some people here, all the scraps would get thrown away, but we save them, and we made this beautiful scrap bin here. It's made out of red gum, eucalyptus, and Cortison sycamore. Hubba hubba. This has been a great resource for people who don't, maybe have a large budget, but they still want to make some cool things. You never know what you're going to find in here. Black walnut, Cortison sycamore, black acacia. Woo-wee! So I'm going to take you guys outside. So we're attached to the headquarters of West Coast Arborists. I'm going to take you on a little behind the scenes tour here. We've got our small engine mechanics and the wood right in the middle. So we got a couple lumber racks here with different products on it. Got Cortison blue gum eucalyptus, Cortison redwood. All our material out here is air drying. We're just waiting to be processed. You have to have a large inventory. We're also doing some chainsaw carvings here. This is a bear in progress. I tried to get it done before the conference, but my arms gave out. I didn't have enough Wheaties this morning. What's our time, Lou?
12:43.
12 minutes and 43 seconds. Well, this is almost the end of our tour here, and I was really glad you guys got to come with. Maybe get the better lighting. Hey, let's finish the tour up at the park. Since we opened our retail location, it's really been awesome, not only for the public to see what's going on, but even the people inside of our own company. We have about 1,000 employees that trim trees and work for West Coast Arborists. So for them to see what's going on, walking backwards, talking about my left and my right, it's really fun for them to see what we're doing with the wood instead of putting it through the chipper. So this is our outdoor picnic area, our little park we have at West Coast Arborists, all made out of redwood. I try to get everyone out here to polish the floor occasionally. We have some Torrey pine. We have a beautiful camphor tree. So it's a nice place for people to come out and have lunch, or we can have outdoor meetings out here. And it just provides a really good vibe. Thanks everyone for attending the conference, and thanks for hanging out with me for 15 minutes. I look forward to talking with you all in a little bit.
So next, the one who just popped in there, we are going to see Danny Torres with Deadwood Revival. He is going to give us a tour of his facility. And hopefully, Danny, you're going to talk to us about your drawing grant and the great things that you're going to be doing for the Urban Wood Network members and Urban Wood in California and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. So can everybody hear me?
We hear you, yes.
All right, great. Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here and be part of this panel. Really excited. John's video was super cool. I've been watching the conference yesterday and today, and it's been a good time. And a lot of great information and a lot of passionate people. So appreciate you putting this together with the California Urban Forest Council. This is awesome.
Well, we are very happy you accepted the invitation. So.
All right. So,
all right, we're ready for the video.
All right, I'm going to share this video. There may be a little bit of volume issues, what I heard. It sounds like the volume's a little bit low in that first section where I'm talking. Don't worry, it should normalize, but just let me know. Here we go. I'm going to share my, I'm going to share my screen here. All right, can we see it? Can we see this video?
A little pixely, but we're seeing something.
All right, we'll see if this.
It's clear on mine.
Okay, let me know.
Discipline number one, the turning of the trees into urban lumber. That urban lumber is later used not only for our own projects, but to supply local carpenters, architects, builders, contractors, also even DIYers that are here looking to start their own project. Another discipline is our custom furniture division. And so we make high-end luxury furnishings from everything from commercial spaces, restaurants, architecture firms, homes, just anything that people are out there trying to find a specific need that they're not able to find. And they also want to include that biophilic design that was talked about earlier in the conference. They come to us with a vision, and they want us to turn that vision into a reality. Another one of their disciplines is the steel fabrication. We have a full steel fabrication shop here on site, which you'll see here in a second. And we not only do all of our own frames, but we also create signs for restaurants. We work for contractors doing other welding work, such as fences. And so we really focus on a little bit of everything. Another one of our disciplines is kiln drying. We have an iDry Plus, and we utilize that not only to dry our own lumber, but we also dry for other local mills and sawyers and different furniture makers themselves. And so let's take you through the shops right now. Check them out. All right, so we're here in the first shop, and this is the wood shop. And a good fact about this wood shop, this was the first shop that we had. And in fact, everything that you're gonna see, with the exception of the kiln, was packed into this shop at some point. The steel shop was right down here. The wood shop is right above us. And so we're downstairs right now in an area that we use mostly as an assembly area right now, and a little bit of a slab display. And you're in luck right now because we're in the process of finalizing this project for Mariposa Meadows. And so there are some pieces of furniture available for us to look at right now. And so Mariposa Meadows is a brilliant partnership between ourselves, Urban Wood Rescue, and West Coast Arborists, and where they donated the lumber and we have done the work to create these beautiful pieces of furniture that are going to be showcased in a vision home in the San Juan Mountains in Colorado, actually in the San Juan National Forest in Colorado, through an outfit called Green Builder Media. What they were looking to do when they approached us is to showcase the most sustainable, as part of the project, they're showcasing all of the most sustainable building practices, everything from HVAC to material selection, how to deal with water, solar energy, everything is the most cutting edge and the most sustainable out in the market right now. And so they wanted to have that in conjunction with some furniture that told some of the same sustainability. Here by me is two of the pieces for this Mariposa Meadow projects. And as you can see, what we're trying to do is do two distinct lines of furniture. One, live edge, and the other one, a more modern with cleaner lines, cleaner look, and it's a non-live edge style. So over here on the right-hand side, red gum eucalyptus that came from Street Tree Revival, absolutely beautiful wood. And on the other hand, we have this live edge end table with a waterfall feature made with lumber from Urban Wood Rescue. And now we'll check out the rest of the projects that are here at the shop. All right, so you're upstairs at the wood shop right now. All of our creations, this is their birthplace right here. And one of the fun facts here is that we're on a second story right now. Where you were at just a second ago was downstairs. And so everything that gets created up here gets assembled downstairs. So then it needs to be carried down this narrow stairwell right here, where you'll see all the way to the downstairs without scratching it. Definitely not ideal, but this is what we've had in order to grow. And so right now it's worked for us. So take a look around. All right, so now that we're done with the wood shop, let's go over and check out the steel shop. So welcome to the steel shop. We're here, this is essentially Pepe's Playground. And right behind me, you can see that there's a sign for a restaurant or for a brewery, Antigua Brewing. So here, not only do we do steel frames, we also do the 3D modeling and different kind of vector files that are needed in order to send to a water jet cutter to cut to make a sign, whether that be some legs or any kind of steel component. So I want to show you these cool legs here. These are our tree legs that are going to a nice custom table that's going to overlook the ocean in Cambria. We're delivering this thing at the beginning of next month. So these here steel tree legs are made out of 4 half-inch plates that make up a 2-inch total. And then as part of the design, every plate is a little bit different than the other. So you can see how each plate is inset from the one that sits above. And it creates a level of depth and texture. You can even see like in the crevice or the cavity of the tree, there's some texture there. And also your inner branches and outer branches are also formed by the selection of what steel plate carries which part of the design. And so this particular frame, there's 3 legs for one 14-foot run. I believe it's a 14-foot table. And so really cool, really proud of this design. I think that Pepe did a really good job with it. And so right behind us, you see our brand new vacuum kiln, iDrive Plus. I only had it in service since about December of last year. So a little bit less than 10 months or just over 10 months at this point. And so this is the iDrive Plus, which can dry up to 4,000 board feet. And so it claims that it can do an inch per week. So on material, let's say we're doing some smaller material, dimensional material, and it's a 1-inch piece of board. As long as this air dried, it'll dry in a week's time. And so a very advanced machine. It gives us a tremendous amount of capacity to actually be able to dry for people who need lumber by a certain time, be that a contractor or a certain job that requires us to meet a certain timeline. This machine has been great in order to aid us in that. Not only that, it actually helps us by providing us revenue and drying for other people. And we can make sure that other urban lumber producers and suppliers have access to dry lumber by utilizing our services as a kiln drying provider. Here at the back panel, I wanted to show you under the hood of this thing. So first of all, wow, there is a lot of sophisticated machinery going there. This thing's actually online right now, and we can see and track the progress of the lumber from anywhere, at what temperature the machine is running or anything like that. We can actually even change the settings from another location. It's pretty simple right now. You can set temperature, you can do a set point for the vacuum, you can set the drain cycle time, how long it drains, fans going in one direction 120 minutes, then reversing for 120 minutes. Pretty simple. You can actually also track what it's done over the last 24 hours, week, hour. And so the power is in the vacuum, and the vacuum is produced by the vacuum pump right there. And so this vacuum pump is what actually creates vacuum in the chamber, and these are the heat coils right here. On the other side of this sits an enormous fan that spins 120 minutes in one direction, 120 minutes in the other, and it forces airflow through the stack as we're also applying heat and vacuum. And so that's the secret of it drying. It's been a pleasure having you today. Thanks for spending some time with us, going through the shop. On our way out, we're gonna leave you with some aerial footage of the mill. Thanks for being with us. See you.
All my tame and all my wild, all my land and all my child, all my faults and all my scars, all my sometimes lucky stars, all my joys and my regrets, all my old guy parkers.
We are back.
We are back.
We met.
Looks like we are going through your video again there, Danny. If we can stop sharing on that.
All right, let me stop the sharing.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so glad that you showed your iDry. iDry is a community sponsor of the Urban Wood Network Western Region. And so thank you for giving them a little bit of props. And of course you gave our title sponsor, Wood-Mizer, a lot of props as well. We thank you for that.
Well, great. And I'll talk to you a little bit about the grant. First of all, all that machinery that you see is in partnership with CAL FIRE through a community urban forestry grant. And so with this same grant, we've been allowed some funds in order to create a drying course that's going to be specific to urban lumber. And so what we're doing is we're taking all the questions that people have had in order to actually know how to tackle drying urban lumber properly, because we know how important that is in order to get our lumber out to market. And so we'll be creating a urban lumber drying course that's going to be taking place here in California, 3 workshops over the next couple of years. One is going to be taking place down at Street Tree Revival. There's going to be one at Urban Wood Rescue. So a lot of great partnerships, and we'll be distributing information on that here coming up in the future. In fact, there was a webinar recently that's on the Urban Wood Network's website on tools for urban wood producers, where we talk about it a little more extensively.
Urbanwoodnetwork.org.
Yeah, or urbanwoodnetwork.org, resources, webinars, and in there, the most recent one, you'll see trace is being talked about, and then we talk extensively about this drying workshop.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Danny. We're going to have a Q&A for you at the end. And our next presentation or video is going to be from Nick Harvey at Bay Area Redwood. And I'm not sure if Nick is backstage or not, or if we're just going to play his video. But hopefully he ends up backstage for the Q&A, because I'm sure people are going to have a lot of questions for him after videoing this, or after seeing his video rather. So Nick Harvey is the founder and CEO of Bay Area Redwood. He's responsible for sales, strategy, and daily operations for the company. Nick founded the company in 2018 and has worked to promote bio-waste diversion and urban reclamation ever since. Besides running Bay Area Redwood, Nick is involved with environmental nonprofits such as Stop Waste and Save the Redwood League. I first met Nick at the San Luis Obispo conference that we co-hosted with California Urban Forests Council. And that's where, I believe that's where Nick actually signed up to become a member of the Urban Wood Network Western Region. So,
And he is a brand new member of the California Urban Forest Council board. So,
yeah,
Nick.
yes,
Yeah.
definite props. So lots of crossover. So there's Nick. Welcome.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yo, what up, friends? Nick here from Bay Area Redwood. Really excited to be here at the Urban Wood Network Conference, co-hosted by the California Urban Forest Council. So here we're at the Bay Area Redwood showroom in City Center Bishop Ranch, which you're going to see more of our custom furniture products in a minute. But first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do. We divert trees from entering the waste stream. We start at the very beginning, but we'll help clients remove their trees all the way to making finished products. We work with a variety of different tree service firms, fabricators, etc., to ultimately see these pieces come to life. The reason we do this is to divert trees from entering the waste stream, as everyone knows that otherwise they'd be chipped up, they could enter a cogen facility, landfill, etc. So here we're going to walk around and show you the showroom. Back over here, what you're going to see is a 6-person dining table. It also doubles as an office desk. Back over here are some more other products, like the standing bar table and a small coffee table. Back over here, we work with a lot of local makers who both come to us for materials, but also want an outlet to be able to retail their products. So we have a lot of like cutting and charcuterie boards, and in fact, we donated 100 charcuterie boards like this to the California Urban Forest Council. So if you donated $50 for this event, all those proceeds are going to the California Urban Forest Council and their important work to plant more trees in our communities. This is another representative example of what these boards could look like. And speaking of tree planting, we're huge proponents of seeing the urban forest canopy expanded in our community. To that, what you'll see is actually a living redwood tree right here instead of an incense cedar stump. It's been going strong for about 6 months now. Maybe one day it'll become an old growth tree, right? So back over here, what you're going to see is some of our larger products, kind of like this 8-foot by 4-foot dining table. This is a single slab. We routinely have logs up to 20 foot long and 5 foot wide. This is a really large piece right here. It's about 55 inches over there, and about 38 inches right here. It's actually really light. That's something that's really unique about these young redwood trees that we're excited. This one is only about 60 years old. In fact, the more unique part of the story is that in the Diablo winds from earlier this year, in about February, it actually flew about 40 feet and almost cracked in half. You can see crack propagation right here, and it's held underneath with 3 tenons. Also in the showroom, we have other pieces just standing up on the wall so that people get a general idea of some things that we have in inventory, and we rotate every couple of weeks. This one right here is a curly piece of redwood, whereas this right here is rip cut on the back for something like a desk. Back over here, this is your typical redwood that you would see that is standard hardwood in the middle and sapwood on either side. We have a piece of oak thrown in here just to kind of show a different species. And and just a couple other pieces that you'll see as well. Something that's become really popular is this adjustable height standing desk. So we can take it and go up for standing, or just as easily bring it down as well. So what this space does is gives people an opportunity to learn more about our products and see and experience what urban wood is like here in a retail space, and where you can really get an idea of the product separated out from the operational side of things, where many people don't have that experience and understanding as a woodworker, so they really can see what these pieces will look like inside of their homes. We're really excited that you're joining us here at the Urban Wood Network Conference, and you can learn more about what we're doing on Instagram at Bay Area Redwood or at bayarearedwood.com. Thank y'all very much, and hope to see y'all soon. Thank y'all, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was wonderful. We are going to, we're going to have a video coming up about the making of a cottonwood surfboard. Then we're going to have a tour of where we are here a little bit. And then I'm going to bring all of you guys back up to ask a lot of questions and get a lot more information about what you're doing.
If I could say
So
something.
we have one more thing to say about Nick. I noticed you saw those cutting boards or serving boards that he was making. And he is making one of those for each of the speakers. And he's donating those, right, Nancy?
As well as our award winners.
As
So,
well as all the award winners.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that.
Absolutely. They're right now being blazed.
The trees are like sponges. They absorb carbon. We're trying to reduce carbon in our atmosphere. Trees do that for us. They store it. Once it's in the wood, it's locked up. You take that wood and say make a piece of furniture out of it, you lock the carbon in there. This is like Christmas. Pop these bands and screw this crate. Wow, what do we have here? My name is Josh Martin. I'm a second generation surfboard builder. My dad, Terry Martin, he started shaping boards in 1952. When I'm making these surfboards lighter by removing some of the wood that's inside of them, sometimes I like to put something in there. It's like a time capsule. I might put a stub of one of my dad's old pencils. I put a guitar pick in one of them for a customer. It was his dad's guitar pick and special to him. Some of my earliest memories of my dad building surfboards, those boards were built out of reclaimed or salvaged wood. I don't think they called it that back then. My dad would tell me that as surfboard shapers, our job is to make people happy in the water. My dad thought when you take this wood and you glue it up, it's more or less a rectangular shape. We call it a surfboard blank, but surfboards aren't rectangular, they're not square, there's nothing straight on them. There's curves everywhere. I can remember him saying, inside that block of wood, there's a surfboard. Now let's go get it. So we go in there and we use these different tools, planers and saws, and we'd hand shape it. And we'd go find that surfboard inside that square form. It's sculpting, really. One time I was with Jim Evans from Far West, and we were walking around his property. We were looking at wood, and I looked at this one log, and I asked him, I said, what are you going to do with that wood? I think he sensed maybe I thought it was a piece of junk. He said, I don't believe God made any junk wood. I love this cottonwood. It's got all these little eyes in it. There's spalting in it. There's actually little bits of mold here and there. It's got a character in it. It goes from blonde to gold and into these bronzy colors. It's incredibly beautiful. The patterns you can create are infinite. This wood that I'm making the fin out of looks a little different than the wood that's in the surfboard, but it's actually the same species of wood. It's cottonwood, but it's actually what we would call cottonwood burl. It's not perfect, but all these little imperfections look beautiful. I've even got little voids in here. You can actually see through the fin. I love it. In this day and age, most surfboards are just a computer file. You can email that file anywhere in the world and have a CNC operator cut you that surfboard. I just choose to do this the old school way, by hand. Is it the smartest way to do it? Maybe not. I don't know. I do it because I love it, and I'm going to continue to do it this way. I love the process, and I take a lot of time building them. It might take me 2 weeks to build a surfboard, which means I'm working with this wood for quite a while. It's neat to know where it came from. I know the arborist who cut it. I know the sawyer who milled it. I know they love this wood. You know, I can follow the chain of custody of this wood. This is good wood I'm making this board out of. I don't mind spending 2 weeks making a board. Somebody's going to get this and enjoy it forever. Generations. That's cool. Yeah, I live in an urban place, and so using urban wood, it's a little more relatable to me. I think every tree has a story from its roots to its final form, and to be able to know what that story is, to trace it, to know the tree's ancestry, that's priceless. There is something special about surfing a wood surfboard. It's different than foam. The neat thing about wood grain and the way it grows, when you turn it into a surfboard, that surfer can push on the surfboard. They can make a turn, and they can use their body weight to push into that board and load that wood surfboard with energy. And then when they come out of that turn, they can release and get lighter on their feet. And that wood releases that energy they put into it. A tree, you know, I don't think it ever really dies. It takes on new life, and this is that new life.
Hi. So now you got to see a few other things that cottonwood can be used for. We actually have a piece here as well. Artistry Millworks is working on some different patterns and different things that they can do with cottonwood. And when they presented this to the designers and architects, we weren't expecting the response that we got, but they went gaga over this. Feel the weight of that. It doesn't weigh. It's like
balsa
nothing.
wood, yeah.
And that's one of the advantages of cottonwood, and we're trying to find lots of uses for it. Is they used to make saddles. As a matter of fact, I think they still do, because it's very strong but very light. And so it was one of the woods that worked for a surfboard. So next up is going to be a video of the location where we are. And you're going to see that we are not where we want to be yet. It looks polished here, you know, in this space that we have, but we've had some issues. COVID has not been good for that.
For the industry, period. Yeah.
We've had some sickness. Our general contractor was held up, permit issues, and just issue after issue. But anyways, we are very much under construction. And so I did a real simple video kind of giving you what to expect and where things are going to be. And hopefully you can get a good vision from that. So, all right, we are ready for the video.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Alker with the Urban Wood Network. And for decades, we've been working on building a network for urban wood, for small businesses, a place for small businesses to be able to sell their wood. And a few years ago, we established Urban Salvaged and Reclaimed Woods Inc. in around 2016, actually. A few years later, we realized that there were other networks out there who were doing similar things to us. And we decided that we'd have a better brand image if we joined forces and came together into one network. We decided that that network was the Urban Wood Network. And so today, we're doing business as the Urban Wood Network Western Region. And a few years after that, around 2018, we really started to realize that we needed some standardization in our industry. We needed to have standards, we needed to have chain of custody, we needed to have common practices that everyone adhered to, so that we had the same nomenclature for different items, so that we had common grades for the urban wood products and common moisture content and labeling for urban wood, so that when builders and designers and specifiers purchased our products, they would feel very confident that they were getting a wonderful product and that they were getting a consistent, high quality product every time. And then we realized that a lot of these small producers who were wanting to sell urban wood were having a hard time with it. They were running into issues with, they didn't have the time to do the sales tax filings, the marketing, or maybe even the marketing budget. And they didn't have time to run a retail location or a wholesale location and to really deal with the public. But they loved rescuing wood. They loved sawing wood with their sawmills. But there were all these other pieces of the pie that was making it tough for them to succeed in business. And so we reached out to CAL FIRE, and we were awarded a very generous CAL FIRE grant and with the CCI initiative. And we were awarded a grant to be able to help these small urban wood producers to sell more of their product by having a storefront that was for these Urban Wood Network members who are selling wood products that follow standardization and that follow a chain of custody. And so we are in the remodel process right now, really excited to be able to bring this to all of those Urban Wood Network members very, very soon. I know it looks like we're not making good progress, but we really, really are. It's because we're going to be putting this tongue and groove urban salvaged redwood siding out front. There'll be urban wood, Doug fir and redwood posts out front, and everything in here will be made with urban salvaged and reclaimed woods. There'll be a showroom in there for urban wood professionals to be able to display their products. And once a quarter, we're going to have a pop-up here, a pop-up sale here, where urban wood professionals will be able to do a pop-up tent event, sell their finished good products. They'll also be able to have the warehouse or the storage or showroom space in there to do it. And then out here, urban wood professionals will have a place to sell their wood. They're not going to have to pay for the warehouse space as they would if they opened a store of their own. They're not going to have to deal with getting a point of sale system or the sales tax issues or the retail or the return, dealing with the customers. All of that's going to be taken care of right here. Lots of construction going on in here. This is going to be the office reception area, as well as a foyer sitting area, and a little bit of finished wood displays will be done in this area as well. And then as we walk in here, we have a 30-foot showroom. This is where we will have a lot of the finished products. And I know out front you saw a lot of unfinished tie-back on the wall. We're going to put siding all the way around with urban salvaged redwood. And then we're going to have everything on the outside of the building will be urban salvaged wood products. And so as you walk through this warehouse, this is around an 8,000 square foot warehouse. This will have rows and rows of sanded, planed, ready to sell urban wood products. There will be places for live edge slabs, but we also really want to get into that beyond the live edge slab and really look to a lot of dimensional products as well. So over here, in the next building over, and it's really windy out there, so we're not going to get too close, but in the next building over, there's another approximately 8,000 square feet, maybe 9,000. And that building will be up for a lot more of the dimensional, really getting into that beyond live edge wood products. And so over there, we're going to pick a small number of species of urban wood products that we can cut into dimensional sizes. And that way we can, it's something that we can duplicate over and over and over again, so that we have a product that we can take to the specifiers, the architects, the designers, the builders, and really just start to promote urban wood in a much larger way than we've been able to do with that one-off live edge slab or different products like that. So we are really excited to bring this to our Urban Wood Network members, and there'll be a lot more to come very soon. Go to our Instagram page at Urban Wood Network. Go to our Facebook page or our private Facebook group, or just contact us at info@urbansalvagedwoods.com, and we will get information out to you as soon as we have it on when the store is opening, how you can participate, and how you can move forward. So thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.
All right, some of the things I didn't mention in there, or I don't think I did, I was having a hard time hearing it with the mics and everything. Conference area to meet with designers. We're actually in the showroom part that you saw the people pulling the paint or the paint tape and things off the floor. So we've made a little bit of progress, but that was 2-3 days ago, and it was so windy that we had to cut the video up, and so we're not sure what got in there and what didn't. Or we weren't until then, but I noticed, I don't think it mentioned kiln sterilizing product before it comes in. That's something that a lot of small producers don't have the luxury to have, whether it's zoning or, different reasons like that, or cost. And so we'll be sterilizing the product before it comes in for the members. There will be a 52-inch time sander or time saver drum sander and a 72-inch slab miser. We'll have some resaw options and a forehead molder planer, depending on how we go with that, because we are really wanting to get into the dimensional. Yeah, we're going to have live edge slabs here. They're still hot, but as an industry, we have to be ready for when it goes away. Plus, there's such a large volume. We just don't want to be, we don't want to just have one outlet. We need to experiment. We need to look at what woods can be used for what applications, what woods can double as, something else like the koa and the black acacia. So you find your wood double. And that way we're not importing woods. We're using the woods that are right in each Urban Wood Network members' local area. And that's going to vary as we go across the country or across all of North America or the world. Eventually, we'll take this mission worldwide. So another thing we're going to do here is put together pergola packages and picnic table kits that the wood is being aggregated in and consolidated from multiple Urban Wood Network members. And so those are some of the things that we're going to be working on. So anyways, one more thing. For Urban Wood Network members who were very supportive at the first, but may not want to necessarily bring their woods in or their wood products in because they already have a showroom or a warehouse. They'll have the opportunity to do a kiosk in here that shows some of the end products that they're able to do, and that can direct consumers back to their own businesses, their own showrooms in everyone's local area. Right. Well, I didn't see a lot of questions. I saw a lot of comments. I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park there. So, saw a lot of comments. Everybody absolutely loved everything that that you guys were doing, but I didn't see any questions. So I am sure that this group of talkers can come up with something to say. One thing that I'm thinking of, and Nancy, if you don't mind checking the chat, let me know if anything pops up, and then we can stop. Otherwise, we'll keep talking. So I was wondering. I mean, I know one of the things I was talking about was working on species, getting more dimensional for that inevitable time when live edge starts to take a dive, and just really looking at some other things that we can do. And so I know one of them is the dimensional stuff that we're sampling. What are some of you guys working on to hedge against that inevitability?
Well, we're trying to keep up with the dimensional demand. So in our experience, we haven't actually made enough dimensional to just keep the flow going. We're having a problem with being able to dry the material fast enough. So to try to get ahead of that curve, I just got off the phone today with one of our sawyers talking about that same thing, that we want to keep the sawmill mostly just making dimensional, so that, because there's more logs out there that I think that are usable as dimensional lumber versus slabs.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what some of those smaller diameter logs that I know Marissa was talking about. I mean, those are really hard to do in volume because our trees just don't grow. Urban trees just don't grow the same. But those small producers can really start to work on some of those, 12-inch diameter logs, and we'll take them. Many of the samples that we have done to try and find the bigger markets have been with those 12-inch diameter logs, just because that's what we know we can get a consistent supply of.
There's a question here from John Leffingwell. Can you see that?
All right, there is a question. I'm gonna have to lean in to read it. What kind of regulations do you deal with when trying to engage cities, counties to get them on board with harvesting trees from their property? Or you deal mostly with homeowners?
I'm happy, Chairman.
All right, yeah, take it.
We deal a lot with homeowners who come to us. Some cities and counties are interested, but one of the biggest challenges is that for us, since we're just a for-profit, they can't give them directly to us. So unless you have a partner, like say an Urban Wood Rescue or et cetera, that has been one challenge that we've seen. So incorporating that nonprofit entity is really important as you work with any sort of government entity, whether it's a special district, city, county, et cetera.
Yeah. And that's one of the things the Urban Wood Network has been helpful with. It's a little easier to say, that it's going for the Urban Wood Network membership, even though there are for-profit businesses behind that. Sometimes that allows, a little bit of leeway that you wouldn't otherwise have. So.
Yeah. And I think that's important to figure out ways to partner. For example, all the people on this screen I have a partnership with in some way or another. So Big John over there in Street Tree, they supply us lumber for projects. We just did recently a winery, Sycamore, that they're cutting down there in Anaheim is extremely popular up here. And so what we're able to do is say, all right, we're going to go down there and buy a significant load of wood of different kinds of lumber, and then be able to offer that as an extension of the things that we have here, because different species grow in different areas, and John's going to have access to certain things, Nick's going to have access to certain things, I'm going to have access to certain things, but there's always an opportunity to work synergistically together and kind of working together to kind of grow the market and grow each other's businesses. So I think that's something that I believe in a lot, is sharing, not the burden, but sharing the wealth with each other.
Yeah, definitely. And
Also
you've all
would
been
say-
so great with that.
I would also mention that the word harvest is kind of, I don't like using that word, because harvest is you're harvesting vegetables. You were planting it for vegetables. This wood was not planted for wood. These trees were not planted for wood. So you're really taking it out of the waste stream and not harvesting the tree. So I think there's some difference in where and how it comes up like that. So it's not.
Yeah, I think
getting so much
traditional
stuff
wood world uses that word a lot. So the definition of urban wood is actually woods that were not harvested for their timber value. Although, as we learned yesterday, and one of the things that we're all really trying to do is plant trees that have the probability of being utilized when they come to the end of their life. And that way they're not waste. And so there's a little bit of both in there. So, yeah.
To go back on dimensional really quick, what I've noticed, and maybe y'all can chime in as well, is that as the price of lumber has increased over the pandemic, we've gotten more and more requests for dimensional. And while our costs to process haven't really changed whatsoever, between it's the same cost to mill, in reality, for us, it costs more money to cut dimensional, but the average purchase order is going to be more volume of wood, right? That's something I see growing. A really exciting project that we've been involved with is utilizing some blue gum eucalyptus, which is, I think, everyone's favorite tree that people say can't be used. I know I've talked a little bit with a few of y'all on here about it. So we have a project in downtown Livermore utilizing it. We're really excited about. So yeah.
Yeah, we use a lot of eucalyptus as well. It's one of the things that we have a hard time keeping in stock. It's harder to dry, but when you do, it's gone.
And I think that's something that's really important and a huge opportunity potentially in the coming years. Not that I think that there should be so many trees taken down, but there are a lot of places that are removing eucalyptuses. And so I think, going back to the highest and best use urban wood, being able to highlight these projects can hopefully bring more awareness. And that's what our hope with the project in Livermore is.
Sorry, we're losing battery power here.
Battery power emergency.
Battery.
All right.
Yeah,
There's a couple questions here in the Q&A that I see. One's from Margaret Lely, who can help landscape architects in the Bay Area connect more easily with wood salvagers? We, LAs, need to provide plans for wood salvage early in a project. Contractor site clearing equals mulching everything. So that's a question that was there. Nick, you would be a person
so
people in that to salvage.
Yeah, from very beginning to end, where we come in. Thanks. Sorry, I was looking at the Q&A chat, and then I see there's questions in the chat. So really, from the very beginning to the end, and really how I look at it is a process. My background is chemistry and material science. So here's your raw materials, here's your trees, and here's what your end goal is. And so, what are all the steps and processes that need to do? So think about Danny, you guys do fabrication, both in wood and metalworking. There's millers, there's haulers, there's tree movers. So like John, West Coast Arborists, you need a tree remove here. So making sure that you have all those pieces lined up so that you can give a turnkey situation and really knowing and coming, what is your end goal? And based off your end goal, where do we start at?
Yeah, and you don't have to be everything. You can definitely form those partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
But answering Margaret, who can help architects connect in the Bay Area, connect more easily with wood salvagers, I think that Jennifer can help through the Urban Wood Network West. I believe she has an extensive list of everybody who's taking logs in the Bay Area. Of course, Nick would be interested in some,
absolutely.
Of course. And so Margaret, connecting you to Jennifer, and she can connect you with the local network to make sure that those logs find a place.
So just a few facilities. We're out in the Tri-Valley, Livermore, San Ramon, in West Oakland, you have Ponderosa Millworks. You have Arbor Upcycle out in Brisbane. You have the Richmond Green Waste Recycle Yard. There's a handful of others. And, there's people that start out with very little. And I saw a question about that actually somewhere.
Yeah.
How do people get started? Which I'm happy to answer that. I started quite literally out of my garage. And then there's, the bigger, more established companies, and everyone has a different piece of the puzzle. And I think that's really what this conference is bringing together, and what Jennifer's putting together as well through her facility is how can we all get together, because a lot of people don't know where to start. And that's often what we see we're doing is we're educating, much like John said earlier in his video. That's the first time people come in and see what urban trees look like and start to learn. And it's really that education process. And so even asking that question is really the first place to start. And I think anyone here that's part of the Urban Wood Network is going to do their best to educate you, point you in the right direction, and implement best practices.
Yeah, it really is a great group, a great community. But investment for getting started, it depends on what you're doing. If it's sawing, you can get into a sawmill for $3,000. And cant hooks, $100. I've seen people literally rig up winches and start their entire business for less than $5,000, assuming they have a pickup truck. So,
You can literally start with a chainsaw too.
yeah, right.
And
That's right,
Alaskan
Danny.
mill.
You started with an Alaskan mill. Yeah. So even less of an investment. You can, where there's a will, there's a way, and especially with the innovative entrepreneurs that we have as part of the Urban Wood movement. Yeah.
And
So we have some more. Oh, go ahead.
how I started is I got trees delivered to the front of my house to saw them being thrown away, and I hired another portable sawmiller to come and cut them, and I turned the backyard into a lumber yard. So in my case, what it is actually just kind of subcontracted, and I found out about other people in the business and how to manage that process. Again, thinking at it from kind of that process oriented, almost like chemistry reactions, but in terms of how do we go from log to finished product. I've learned a lot since then, and to be quite frank, I knew nothing when I started, right? It all started just kind of, who doesn't get logs delivered to the front of their house?
I don't know anybody, so everybody I know does.
Yeah.
So, Mike asked, how do you get more architects to spec using urban wood? That's a great question. And I know we dove into that a little bit yesterday with the standards, and CAL FIRE has been generous to give a marketing grant as well. And so we're really hoping to market the entire brand. And so that's why it's really important to be an Urban Wood Network member, a USRW certified wood. And then that brand is going to help be promoted. And we are working with Dwayne Sperber, who from Woodward, who you heard yesterday, working with him, and he's helping us interview architects and designers for what they need. What is need for the sales sheets? What do we need to give you as architects, designers, and specifiers, builders, to start using urban wood, to feel comfortable with it, to feel confident? And so we're definitely working on that. And sorry, I jumped in there, but yeah, anyone else have any answers for that?
Here's a couple of new questions I'm seeing. Make sure that we get these things answered. Jess Running asked, lots of burn dug fir coming out of Sonoma, Napa. What dimensions would be best to mill? And so I think John, you guys mill a lot of dimensional lumber. If you had a bunch of dug fir out there, what would you mill it to?
Well, dug fir is like a very commonly available in lumber yards. So maybe that might not be my first one to go after, because it's going to be hard to compete price-wise with the traditional lumber market on dug fir. That being said, weird sizes are harder to get. Everybody can get, 1.25 by or 1.75 by 3.5, whatever a 2x4 is, right? The real size of a 2x4, but not everyone can get a 24-inch beam, So almost, trying to find the buyer first, and then cutting a custom size beam or something out of a Douglas fir. Douglas fir is good for beams. So, I mean, it's a hard question to answer.
So many of us are using, oh, go ahead, John.
The right answer is whatever size you choose, cut a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it depends on how you want to who you're cutting for.
Volume.
Yeah. Try to find your buyer first. That definitely makes it easier. The 2x4 market, my company tends to stay out of, except for this building for the walls, the showrooms that we built out, we did end up having to cut some of our own because the cost was so high this year. But then you get into, you want to be careful with your structural grading. And so that can be done. We can put you in contact with a transient grader who can come out and grade stamp that product or give you a certificate of grade for that product. But that's something we usually stay out of, except for in the beams and bigger things, because we have such a hard time competing with the big box stores on 2x4 or dimensional structural material. So, but you know, the market changes, so definitely something we can do.
Nick's trying to say something.
A really easy unit of measurement I say is, you know, how much money you're putting in and how many board feet you're getting. So when you're cutting big pieces of dimensional lumber, you're going to be processing more wood generally. Now you might end up with more of your slash or mill-ins and not as high of a yield cutting bigger pieces. But, you know, that's one thing to consider as well when you're penciling out if, you know, processing any material.
Yeah. All right. John, there is a specific question for you, unless anyone had anything else to add to that. No? All right, John, how would you describe the act of collecting urban wood?
Rewarding.
Rewarding? Well, yes, there you go.
We're in a unique situation where, you know, it's in our contracts where we have to take this wood. So we're coming at it at an approach that we have too much wood right now. You know, if that, I'm not sure if I understand the question, but we have so more wood than we can currently handle, like, you know, in capacity. So we're really trying to just grow our processing capacity so that we are able to capture more of that material. Like Mike said yesterday, the answer for this is good sort yards and like an industrial sawmill setup, which nobody, you know, like a big monster facility to handle, you know, the volume of wood. How would I describe it? Yeah, I mean, rewarding, challenging, fun, smelly. Sometimes
smelly, sometimes good smells, sometimes bad smells, depending on what you're cutting.
I see another. I think maybe these questions are popping up in my direct question Q&A, but it's from Neil Church. What's the process from start to finish of a log arriving at your facility and becoming a usable slab? And how important is timing from the tree removal to starting the process? I mean, everybody's process is going to be a little different. I can talk to you a little bit about ours. When a homeowner wants to work with us particularly, they might contact us and say, hey, we have this log we want to salvage. At that point, I'll say, have you contacted a tree service? Are you working with somebody? If they have been working with somebody, we'll be asked to put in contact with that tree service. That way we can coordinate with them. Because tree services, even though a lot of them have great intentions, and we have some awesome partnerships with tree services, oftentimes they're in a situation where they need to get to the next job. And, you know, time is money. They have those crews out there operating. So you want to coordinate closely with the tree removal. And if you have a good working relationship with somebody, at the day of the removal, I'll be there. Not only to mark out the logs and see if the tree service is able to do those cuts. And I will also be there with our trailers and with our equipment in order to take the logs. Because what a tree service would want in order to work with somebody, at least in our experience, is that somebody's a professional. They show up on time. They know what they're talking about. They have a plan, and they're there to make it easier. But once the log then goes from the tree service and we pick it up at the yard, it goes to our yard. And at that point, it gets put into an inventory system. The ends will get sealed up, and then we'll determine kind of what the best action is, how we want to cut it. Do we want dimensional out of this? Do we want slabs out of this log? Just based on, so it just kind of gets into the queue at that point. So hopefully that answers your question there, Neil.
Great.
Similar process to some extent, but we also have some arborists that know about our log recycling yard. And so, you know, the thing I say, hey, if you're taking a big tree out, send us a photo, and then, you know, yes or no is what we text back, and they kind of have an approval, and they come up, and we're basically just taking trees that would otherwise go to, say, like a Vision Recycling, where it would get chipped up in the mulch. And so what we actually act as is a low-cost green waste removal service for people. We're not getting huge volumes, but it's every time that a new homeowner reaches out to us, it's a potential to create a new relationship with a new tree service potentially, depending again where they're at in the process, like Danny said. So it's really interesting because there's no established market for this. This is the established market, this conference right here, and trying to grow that. And so just trying to get more people on board, I think, is the biggest thing. And maybe other people have thoughts here.
Yeah, I think the consistency, once we start really bringing that consistency of grade, of what to expect and building that trust, I think that market's going to come, along with some great job creation, job opportunities, youth, we're working with youth, training the youth. So there's so much good that's happening that's even beyond the rescuing of the trees.
Could you ask them if any of them are doing that kind
You're on.
Oh,
Speak.
I didn't know you guys could hear me. Okay. So
Absolutely.
Here we go. So I'm curious, and it's our side of the industry. We're seeing it more and more important to look toward job creation and employment opportunities, training opportunities for youth, and also under-resourced, poor and disadvantaged communities. And as this industry grows, do we see an opportunity there, really at the start to make that something that grows into the future?
Yeah. So I had an idea. Well, I've been tossing around. I'm sure a lot of people have been tossing around ideas like this. My background is a U.S. Forest Service firefighter, and I came from an apprenticeship program. And this apprenticeship program gave me a baseline set of skills that were really useful for what we do. And I think that in the future, we need to create an apprenticeship program that's similar to like a very well-established apprenticeship program that focuses on the conversion of lumber or these logs into lumber. And so these apprenticeship programs, people can come in with little to no skill and then learn the entire process, where they're learning a skill that can be used in this next upcoming green economy that we're here, and we can be targeting underserved communities. So that's something that I'm hoping to tag into our next proposal for CAL FIRE, in order to really build capacity and build a program that people can go through that's uniform, that people will learn a full set of skills and then be able to use that. And so I think that there's definitely a lot of space for people to come up with good ideas in this.
And on that note, the different skills, there's the arborist, there's the sawyer, there's the fabricator, which, Danny's doing almost every single one of those besides the removal of the tree itself. So having a program like that where they can be exposed to every single one of those different fields, and they may not like this part, or they may like this part or this one. And so just knowing and creating those opportunities. And so completely agree with Danny.
Great. John, what do you got to say?
Yeah, so both of our facilities are in DACs, and we've grown the department. Now we have 11 people full-time on our team dealing with urban wood, which is pretty exciting. And I'd say everyone had come from zero knowledge and gained knowledge. We've had people leave our program and go to other programs too, which is really cool. But I think there is a great opportunity for that. And we've had discussions with different groups on finding a program like that. And I think there's big opportunity. I think we're going to go in that direction. We also, that's
It's got a future, in other words.
Yeah.
Yes.
We currently work with the Eden Area Regional Occupation Program, which is a vocational school that composes 4 different school districts: Hayward, Castro Valley, San Lorenzo, and San Leandro. And I'm on the advisory board of the Construction Technology Program. Now it's very much so focused towards construction, but we've gone and spoken several times. We actually had a work-based learning virtual program over the summer. We were going to do something in person, but of course, due to COVID. And so we're trying to integrate some of what we're doing into that program. So it's just identifying programs like that.
And just to touch on earlier, we were about education. We are having the land and educating landscape architects. We're partnered up with Cal Poly Pomona, and their first year landscape architect students are coming to both of our facilities and getting a big tour. So we just finished that a couple of weeks ago, which was really fun. And to have all everyone's mind was blown, and you could see at the end, we said, hey, how would you use urban wood in your projects? And we got different answers that we hadn't even thought of. So I think getting in with the schools and in woodworking programs and like landscape architects programs, and just letting them know that this is available and that their contributions can make it even more, them participating it can grow it even bigger. Pretty cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Great information. I don't know if you can hear the construction going on out back. They just dropped some pipes. So.
Hey, we're keeping it real.
Yeah. Hey, progress goes on. There's a conference going on, but this facility needs to be taking wood. So we're still operating.
I'm curious. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Do you have any questions for each other, or do you have any other points that you think our audience would like to hear?
I think, thinking about it, being ahead of the game and thinking about it early is really important. It takes forever for wood to dry, and also it takes forever for some groups to move through things, bureaucracy and everything. So if you get on it early, urban wood and a big project can go hand in hand because they both take forever. If you get on it late, it's kind of, so try to think about it early.
And look, stop and think about, John, when we first met, where urban wood was compared to where it is now. I mean, we have come a long way.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. A product that everybody said couldn't be sold. You can't make money with it. It's going to have too much hardware. It's not going to be profitable. And we're doing something with it. And there's so much more. There's so many new, fresh ideas and new people coming that are bringing these great ideas, and we're just elevating it and rescuing more urban wood. It's super exciting.
The end users certainly are seeing the value, especially with the sustainability push.
Absolutely. And we believe that if the consumer knows that urban wood is an option, that they're going to choose that. They're going to put their money there. We just have to get that message out. And so that's our goal.
You've done a good job. And with this crew, I think anything is possible.
Hey, and speaking about educating the consumer, I think one important too is like educating people who are going to be material influencers. And that's one thing that's getting done with the Full Circle grant. It's getting done, and a whole bunch of people are doing this in general. But one thing that we're focusing here locally with our partnership with the Environmental Center of San Luis Obispo, and through the grant, the Community Urban Forestry grant that CAL FIRE put in our hands, we are going to Cal Poly College of Architecture and Environmental Design, and we're allowed to speak to future architects there, all the way from first year all the way through fifth year. Number one, expose them to urban lumber. What is it as a material? What the importance is, what the challenges are right now, and how we need them to, in the future, know about this material and be able to voice to their bosses, or whether they're going to be opening a firm of their own, like, hey, there's this material out there. So I think it starts with educating, right? So we're trying to educate people who are going to be material influencers, but we're also going to be educating people in the secondary and post-secondary level, where we're exposing students that are in woodshop class or different courses about this material, and then taking it to the college level. And then, of course, you got to educate the homeowner as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Sustainable Furnishings Council, right? And so I know you're a member, Danny, directly, and then the Urban Wood Network is a member as well. And then they are a member of the Urban Wood Network.
And that's that's how you can create partnerships. I had found the Sustainable Furnishings Council. I had found you guys, and eventually through a conversation, I had mentioned it to somebody, and now it's a partnership that needed to happen anyways. But it's good when people are out there vigilant and people are looking to work together. We can connect each other with people that you didn't even know existed in the first place. And now you guys are off to do a whole bunch of good things together.
Yeah, and we had the opportunity to do a presentation to their team so that they could see a lot of the products that are coming out of the Urban Wood movement. So,
a new question from Colin. Colin says he works for a tree service company in LA, and what's the best way to get in touch with local mills and supply them wood? I know Angel City Lumber is a pretty big one. Haven't worked with them personally, but I see them on Instagram. I think that some other people here have worked with them. Danny, John?
Absolutely. I've worked with Angel City Lumber, and you give them a call and show them what type of material it is, and they'll likely accept it, and it would be a regular accepting person there in Los Angeles. And then depending on the species, you could contact me, and we could see if we could also help on certain projects.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so here's a crazy idea. TikTok or Instagram influencer, find those. You're going to get your youth market handled.
You know what's really interesting? Oh, John, you're saying something?
No, go for it.
Is it, one of our clients here, I don't know, middle-aged, 50 or so, his daughter's on TikTok, and he was sending me stuff on TikTok. And even he got onto TikTok. I don't use it at all. That's on our platform. Instagram's our main thing. But the different platforms have different users and different age groups. So you have to look. And so you might mostly be hitting young people on TikTok, but then that young person that is influenced who then might show it to their parents. So it's really interesting. I'm not in any way an expert on these things, but I'm sure that there's digital marketing strategies and things like that could be brought in. And I'm sure, so
I'm going to give a plug for Mary Mahoney, Mary Pendleton, actually. Right, John?
Absolutely. Yes. If you need help with your Instagram marketing or Facebook marketing, both my sisters are experts in this field.
We've also done some webinars that are up back in the spring from Acres of Timber, did some how to use Instagram to market your business. So, yeah.
It's a great tool.
It is. We have people to my for-profit company fly in at least 3 times a month, probably more, especially as it gets closer to Christmas, fly in to see the Urbanwood products, and they find it on Instagram and Facebook. We've had people fly from Sylvania before. Actually, one guy who comes every February. It's amazing. Cannot say enough about social media for promoting the concept of Urbanwood.
Absolutely. We have a guy from New Jersey in the showroom right now.
Awesome.
What's a little piece of wood?
Yep. It's amazing. You do this, and sometimes they fly in just to see you, and sometimes they've got family out here and they make it a little detour. So
what we see, being of course Bay Area Redwood, is that Redwood's really important in the state of California, and being state tree, people say, I want to bring a piece of redwood with me to their new home. We've got dozens of people that have moved out of state and want to bring a piece of redwood with them.
Yeah, because that's what we're known for. Yeah.
We have a really cool story developing right now on a Christmas tree someone had, and we actually worked with Bartlett Tree Service recycling earlier this week. It fell over in the Diablo winds, and they used it as their Christmas tree, moved it a couple times and finally planted it. So probably some shallow roots because it never really got established. But, that really the story. And I think that's what gets people in through that. They found us online and they looked at our story. They saw we partner with other makers. And so they thought, hey, we can come to you in one-stop shop, and really just getting out there and having that exposure.
Yeah, and giving that backstory is so powerful. People want to know where their wood came from, and that's, the surfboard video. That's what he was saying. They want to know. It resonates with people. It makes you feel like you're part of something.
Right. You're making something last.
Yeah.
Also.
It's
we
like
don't make
Rich
wood
was
products.
saying yesterday with the kids teaching.
Great stories.
What's that?
We don't make wood products. We make lasting memories.
There you go.
Future antiques.
TikTok for you, John.
I know. Maybe I need to be on the TikTok.
You do need to be on the TikTok. I love the way you say it.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions, anything amongst yourselves, if you guys could hang on for a second, because we're about to wrap up, and we want to do in unison applause for yourselves and everyone else who participated today and yesterday in this amazing, very informative and entertaining opportunity. So can you hang on a sec?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ready?
Ready?
Are we ready? Here we go.
All right. Thank you.
Let's do it.
Bravo.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much
your
for
time.
participating and for watching. Great.
All right. Adios,
Huge-
guys. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Huge thanks to everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.